welcome to the first episode of what I call the June Gems. This is going to be titled Why Nintex? Yeah, or probably better be Where's Nintex? So I'm going to talk about both on-prem and Office 365. And this is really for those people who have never seen Nintex. They're thinking about building out some workflows, automating some of their processes, and they want to know once they have Nintex or if they install a trial of Nintex, where do they find all the bits and pieces? So think about this as Nintex workflow, Nintex forms have been installed, have been fully configured, and you're ready to go to start automating some processes. All right, so we'll start off with an on-prem environment. This is a 2013 SharePoint environment, and we're in a SharePoint list called test list. So first of all, click up here on the top under the list tab, and you'll see the ribbon change. Now, firstly, from the form side of things, you'll see the Nintex Forms button right here. So if you want to automate or customize the form for this particular list, you can very easily click on this button and it will bring up the Nintex Form Designer. For workflow, it's actually hidden down here under workflow settings. If you click on the drop down, you'll see two options down the bottom here. You'll see the create a workflow in Nintex Workflow and the manage workflows with Nintex Workflow. So create, if you want to create a workflow from scratch, and manage workflows is if you already have built some workflows with Nintex Workflow. This allows you to then open those up and edit those. Okay, this is a SharePoint list. Document library is very similar. Again, instead of clicking on list, you click on library at the top here. You'll still see the Nintex Forms button if you want to edit the Nintex form for this document library, and then the same thing for Nintex Workflow, creating and managing workflows. Now, for both the list and the library, this is for building workflows that generally start on a particular event. Right? Something like somebody fills in a form, submits an item, edits an item, uploads a document, etc. Now, the other places you can actually build workflows is if you go, let's jump to this tab here, is if you go up here, click on the little gear or the little cog up here, which is the settings, you'll see a Nintex Workflow 2013 option. And then in here, you'll see there's a create a site workflow option. Again, brings up the Nintex Workflow Designer, but now you're building a site workflow instead of a list or a library workflow. Cool thing about this is that you can do things like scheduling this particular site workflow, which means you can actually say, rather than having a workflow be event driven, for example, like a document being uploaded to a document library, instead you can say, I want this particular workflow to run once a month or once a week at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Friday and start processing some documents or processing some items, doing some calculations, things that you might want to do end of month processing, things of that nature. Okay, so now we've got three. We've got list workflows, library workflows, and site workflows. There are a couple of others. Right here, you'll see create reusable workflow template. Now, this actually allows you to build a workflow for a specific content type in SharePoint. So if you're using content types and you use that particular content type in multiple locations, instead of building a workflow in every single one of those lists or libraries, you can actually create a reusable workflow template. It links to a particular content type, and then you simply add an instance of this template into that list, for that particular content type. The cool thing about that is, in the future, if you need to make any change to that workflow, you just change the template, and all those instances or those workflows will automatically get updated. Now, this is at the site level. If you go to the root site of your site collection, which is right here, again, click on the little gear up there and do the Nintex Workflow 2013. You'll now see you have this option for a create site collection reusable workflow template. So this is the same sort of thing. You're building a workflow for a specific content type, but you can reuse that throughout all the sites in this particular site collection. So again, really, really powerful to be able to do that. Okay, that's the Nintex workflow side of things. Do a quick jump into the form side. We're on a SharePoint list. You can click on Nintex Forms to customize the form experience on this particular list. Every time you create a new item, edit or view an item, you'll have your form design. If you go to a document library, what you're doing with this Nintex form button here is it actually brings up the form designer to customize the property window or the metadata window. So you still upload your normal Office documents or whatever documents you want as a document library, but any metadata fields, any columns you have on here, they will pop up in using an Nintex form. So just a nicer user experience, a little bit more powerful than out-of-the-box functionality. And finally, let's actually go over here and go to Site Settings. Here you have your site content types. You can click in here, and if you have any content types that you've built, I'll see if I've built any in here. Probably not, but let's see if I pick one here. Let's say I pick the item content type. You can see we now have another link in here, which is Edit Form with Nintex Forms. This is really powerful. You can actually customize the form for this specific content type. So regardless of where you use that content type, it will automatically bring along that form design. So build the form design once and reuse it all over the place. If you need to make changes, you just make a change to this form design for the specific content type, and everywhere it's used, it's automatically inherited. Okay, finally, let's have a look at Office 365. This is our Office 365 environment, very similar to on-prem. Click up here on your list, and you'll see instead of down here in the drop down, we actually now have the Nintex workflow button right here. Usually I would actually have an Nintex Forms button here, but in this particular site, I don't have the Nintex Forms app installed. So again, click on Nintex Workflow, and this will allow you to build a workflow for this list, and it will generally be event driven, right? Uploading a document, an item, or sorry, creating an item, editing an item, etc. You'll have the same functionality on a document library. And then finally, we do have site workflows in Office 365. A little bit harder to find them, so I thought I'd let you know. Click on the gear at the top right, go to Site Contents. Site Contents will show you all your lists and libraries, and also you'll see the Nintex workflow for Office 365 app. And as soon as you click on that, that will actually start loading up the Nintex Workflow Designer. And now you can start building out your site workflow. So hopefully this helps you out, gets you started, and looking forward to making some more videos for you guys with some little June gems for you. Thanks for watching.